hotel with some key components that will help with its viability, and I'll talk about that a little bit more further on. The next, so consistency with the purpose and intent. You go through your comprehensive plan and you look at your goals, policies, and objectives, and really, frankly, there weren't too many that we weren't consistent with, but I'm just going to hit some of the highlights. Okay, so policy 1.3.7.1 subsection provides for, or asks for the proposed development to encourage mixed uses within the DMU. We're taking a site that was all residential, the rezoning portion, and we're going to provide for hotel and for retail. So we're certainly encouraging a mix of uses. 1.3.7.2 talks about providing mutually reinforcing commercial uses to support and help with the viability of those uses. The existing hotel lacked adequate parking, and it lacked the traditional support uses that hotels need to survive today. Retail as an example, restaurant as another example, adequate parking is a third example. So we're taking a site and an existing use and we're providing that mix of uses to help the viability of the existing hotel. 1.3.7.4, let me keep going here. Okay, and I talked about the proposed retail, and I'm going through this list right now. So 1.3.7.4 talks about enhancing through the modification parking. We have 73 surface parking spaces today, and the residential community to the east of us, the 2- and 7-story building, are relying on that parking as well. We are talking about at a minimum doubling the parking over there in order to facilitate what is a severe parking challenge. So we think that we certainly encourage a modification of the parking to address parking deficiencies. 1.3.7.5, encourage the pedestrian character of the area. Again, the site plan's not before you yet, but when it does come in, you're going to see larger pedestrian areas. You're going to see connectivity between buildings to encourage the pedestrian connection amongst the buildings on the site. All of that will be done with this plan. And then 1.3.7.7, implement urban design guidelines for the Lake Lucerne corridor. When you have a historic building, it is often hard to address some of the new urban design guidelines, but when we bring the site plan before you, when you look at our architecture, you'll see a thoughtful approach to preserving the old, yet addressing the new. But by allowing us to rezone into the DT, you'll give us an opportunity to come back and do that, which your comp plan currently encourages you to do. Furthermore, supporting the redevelopment plans, which recognize and respect the historic urban character of downtown Lake Worth. We clearly will be doing this because we're taking an existing dark historic building and we're bringing it into the 21st century by providing some of these ancillary uses as well as the parking, and we'll be doing significant renovation in keeping with its historic character. And then finally, 2.1.4.5, which policy provides for the provision of safe vehicular parking. You know, parking is intended to be designed not on the street front, but behind the street front. That's exactly what we've done, so that you get to look at pretty buildings as you're driving down Lake Avenue rather than a monstrosity of a parking garage. Another criteria deals with the land use patterns, and I've talked a lot about the land use map, and I won't go into that much further. But as I mentioned to you before, your staff, or your planners, and your city commission had the vision to create maps that make sense. What we are doing is consistent with them. You know, I won't repeat what I mentioned before, but we are entirely consistent with the land use map as well as the zoning patterns. And then sustainability. So this rezoning supports the integration of a mix of land uses consistent with smart growth and sustainability incentives. The approval of rezoning will allow the reopening and the expansion of the historic Gulfstream Hotel, which has been empty for at least 10 years, and it's been empty over the past 90 off and on. The building was originally approved and constructed in 1923, and it has had a turbulent history, to say the least. What we're doing today helps to provide for its viability. Also, the hotel, this proposal incorporates adequate parking and a retail component that, again, hotels in this century require those support services. That's what people are coming for. Availability of public infrastructure. This particular criteria is related to planned developments, and this is not applicable in the circumstances. We're not asking for that. Compatibility. I showed you the slide with all of our neighbors. We have 5 to the west and northwest of us. We have 7, 6, and 7 to the east of us, exceeding the heights of what our buildings are along the Lake Avenue frontage. And we've dropped down to 2-story, where the 2-story buildings are contiguous, so that they are not impacted visually to what we're intending to do. And this is, again, just a summary of that chart that I showed you earlier. And this is just a very, very conceptual massing, and it will give you a sense of how we're trying to be in scale with what is around us. Again, 7, 7, 6, or I may have done that wrong, excuse me, 6, I think that's 7, although it might be a little lower, 5, 5, 2, 2, and we've got 1 and 2 over here, we've got 2 here, and then this is 6. And then the community sustainability and economic development benefits. Clearly there is an economic benefit to getting the Gulfstream Hotel open, and getting it open in a way that it will survive this time, so that you won't see us again in another 90 years. So without a doubt, we comply with this. We also, by expanding the hotel and making it a hotel that is viable. I meant to mention, hotel operators today will not come in and operate a hotel that is under 120. You might find a few of them, but most of them will not operate a hotel that is under 120 rooms. That's their sweet spot. So even if you could get an operator that is willing to come in and spend the money that it's going to take to renovate the Gulfstream Hotel, you won't find that hotel operator because they need more than 120 rooms, and you're looking at 87 rooms there. So by expanding it as we have and planning for the next hotel, we get that hotel the ability to survive, and we get a good operator to come in and do it and make it the success that it was many, many, many years ago. Economic development impact for conventional zoning districts. So 8% of Florida's economy is related to tourism. It's a $67 billion industry, and you can see my charts. This is statistics right off the state's website. You have one hotel in the city of Lake Worth right now. It's an extended stay. It is not geared to attract the tourism industry. It is geared to serve the business community, people that are coming here that have business. So that 8%, that $67 billion, not one of those dollars is coming into the city. Not the real tourism dollars. The snowbird money, that doesn't contribute. That's something apart from it. This is tourism. So this hotel, with the 160 plus hotel rooms and ancillary uses, will tap into that. So Lake Worth will finally get a piece of the pie that this city certainly deserves. And you have so many other uses in your core, with restaurants and retail, that are also not benefiting by that tourism money, because the tourists aren't staying here. They're not staying on Lake Avenue or Lucerne. They too will see a piece of this business that other cities are getting to your north and south. I just talked about that. Let's skip over this slide. And then finally, a master plan and site plan compliant with the land development regulations. You heard William talk about some of the things that we're going to need to do in order to comply. We will fully comply with all of your development regulations, but that's not really before you this evening. We're simply asking you to make a recommendation on our rezoning request to go from the MF 30 to the DT. And we've added some people that have, actually I didn't skip over that, that have joined us to support this application and would request that you favorably review and recommend to your City Commission to approve this. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you may have.
Thank you.